Hey guys, Gino here. Today I am going to be shooting and discussing the Israeli Weapon Industries Galil ACE Gen 2 7.62 by 39 pistol. And as with a lot of my videos, this gun is brand new. You will see the first shots as I fire them. I plan on taking you through the process as I zero it and then fire it at both long range and short range targets and maybe have a little fun with it. All I've done to this point is run a patch down the barrel, and I did lube the bolt and inside of the receiver. I also added a couple accessories that I typically like. I added the Magpul angled foregrip, a Magpul sling, and since the pistol ships with no sights, I added this Steiner 1-to-4 power scope. And I'll discuss the scope and the accessories in a little more detail later in the video. But for right now, let's go ahead, head out to the range, and get started. Since the weapon is brand new, I wanted to bring it out here, and the first thing I want to do is zero it. The weapon does not come with any type of sights or optics, so I threw on this Steiner 1-to-4 by 24, and for the round, for the sight, and the weapon, I set up a target at 35 yards. I think for my purposes, a 35-yard zero is going to work pretty well. The three types of ammo that I'll be using throughout today, I have Barnaul, which is a steel case, Sellier Bellot, which is brass cased, and a bunch of the Wolf steel cased. And from my experience and my research, the Barnaul and the S&B tend to group just a little bit tighter than the Wolf. So I'm going to start out with the Barnaul, then switch to the S&B, and then, kind of group with the Wolf last. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, those all look a little bit low, a little bit left. Let's go ahead and run a few of the S&B and before I adjust the sight. Have it about the same effect. A little low, a little left. Go ahead and run a couple of Wolf just to see. Those also look a little low and left. Based on where those are hitting, I am going to go ahead and adjust the scope. I'm going to go 2 clicks right. And 6 clicks up. All right, let's see where that puts us. All right, I can see that those are still hitting low and left, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust it now. It didn't move it very much. Four clicks to the right, and I'm going to go 8 clicks up. All right, those are in the X-ring. They're still just a hair low. So I'm going to go ahead and go up, maybe just 1 click. Alright, those are right where I want them. The 35-yard zero is usually pretty good for shooting anything within 250 yards with an AK. Now these calculations are based on a regular 16-inch length barrel, but I think they'll still put me right there in the same ballpark, even though that Galil ACE pistol has a little bit shorter barrel. So what I've done is I've drawn out the point of impact everywhere from 5 yards out to 250 yards on this paper target silhouette. Right now what I want to do is zoom the camera in on this as I talk you through it, so you'll have a better idea of generally where those rounds should be impacting at the varying distances. Using a 35-yard zero, your point of aim, point of impact should be center mass right at 35 yards. When you go out to 50 yards, your point of impact is actually going to be plus 0.83 inches or 0.83 inches above your point of aim. At 75 yards, your actual point of impact is going to be plus 1.83 inches above your point of aim. At 100 yards, your point of impact is going to be plus 2.35 inches above your point of aim. At that point, that 7.62 by 39 round starts to drop just a little bit. So at 150 yards, your actual point of impact should be around plus 1.82 inches above your point of aim. At 186 yards, theoretically, your point of aim, point of impact intersects against center mass. At 200 yards, your point of impact is going to be minus 1.08 inches below your point of aim. At 225 yards, your point of impact is going to be minus 3.54 inches below your point of aim. And at 250 yards, your point of impact is going to be around minus 6.75 inches below your point of aim. Another thing to keep in mind is those up close distances. Say within 10 yards or so, you are going to hit a few inches below your actual point of aim depending on the optic and mount that you've chosen. For me, with the Steiner that I put on that Galil ACE pistol, I'm assuming that my point of impact is going to be 3 to 4 inches below my point of aim within 5 to 10 yards. Right now, I want to head back out to the range and shoot at one of the long range targets and see how this 35-yard zero works out for me. So now I want to check out how this zero works out at shooting a little bit of distance. So I zeroed at 35 yards. That is a 10-inch white gong that I lased at 84 yards. So I want to see, based on that 35-yard zero, this should be hitting, the point of impact should be just a couple inches high above point of aim. Let's go ahead and confirm or deny that. not bad. I was aiming just kind of towards the bottom quarter of that 10-inch gong, so it is hitting a point of impact is a couple inches high, about where I thought it would be. Jumping out of a truck and shooting up bad guys is always a lot of fun. I know in this case it was just a couple of bad guy targets, but it was still fun. Right now, I wanted to go over some of the specs of this weapon for anyone who's interested. This is the IWI Galil ACE Gen 2 in 7.62 by 39. It's a semi-automatic, magazine-fed, air-cooled, long-stroke gas piston operated with a closed rotating bolt system pistol. It weighs 7.5 pounds unloaded and has an overall length of right at 27 inches and just under 20 inches with the brace folded. Right now, let me go ahead and set it on the table so that I can give you a closer look at everything. The pistol features an 8.3-inch chrome-lined, cold hammer-forged barrel that is free-floated, which should help with accuracy. It also comes with this birdcage-style flash hider, which you can change out if you don't like. The Gen 2 model comes with this aluminum M-lock handguard, which has multiple mounting points on each side and on the base. And I did mount this Magpul angled foregrip. This is the AFG2. On the top of that handguard is a section of Picatinny rail that mates with the Picatinny rail that's on the top cover of the pistol. And since the pistol does not ship with a sight, I threw on this Steiner P4Xi 1:4x24 scope. And this is a really good choice for someone looking for a tactical optic that acts like a red dot when you're at 1 power for those CQB distances. And it still has the ability to reach out to those farther targets, I'd say out to about 400 yards with relative ease when you zoom it into the 4 power setting. And the reticle inside is illuminated with a red dot, which for me works really, really well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the controls, and I'm going to start out with the safety. The safety is ambidextrous. There's a safety on the right and left-hand side of the receiver, and it has been updated for the Gen 2 models. It now has a smaller profile, and it features a shortened throw. Right here on the right side, it's more like a traditional style AK safety, and it does have this little bit of shelf to help actuate it. On the left-hand side, it's located right here at the top of the pistol grip, and you use the thumb of your firing hand to actuate it. And for me, it's a little bit easier to use my thumb on the left-hand side of the receiver than it is to actuate it here on the right-hand side. The mag release is a traditional paddle style, and it sits right here kind of at the front base of the trigger guard. The charging handle is located right here on the left-hand side of the receiver, which I personally like. Since there's no last round bolt hold open, it's just easier for me to recharge the weapon with my non-firing hand without having to reach over the top of the weapon and recharge the weapon like you do on the traditional AKs, where the charging handle is built into the bolt on the right-hand side. Something to note, this is also a reciprocating charging handle, which means it does move back and forth as the weapon is firing. The trigger has also been updated. It features a little bit longer profile, and it's supposed to be a little bit smoother to operate, like they polished the internals or something. Let's go ahead and go through that trigger pull real quick. So when your finger touches the trigger, there's a little bit of take up, maybe a 1/4 inch or so. At that point, you feel just a little bit of a resistance, like there's a little shelf right there. And you add just a little more pressure, and it breaks. And it has a nice crisp break and 0 over travel, which is really nice. I would say the trigger pull is around 5.5 pounds or so. It's a pretty light trigger. It's not bad at all. Let's talk about the reset. I found the reset to be pretty long in this trigger. The trigger doesn't actually reset till it's in the fully unfired position, but it is very tactile. It pushes your finger out and you have that audible click so you know exactly when it is reset. The pistol grip is supposed to be more like an AR style. They upgraded that, and it's supposed to have a little bit better ergonomics. And to me, it does feel fine. Nothing about it stuck out as being uncomfortable or anything while firing today. And since this is the pistol version, it features the SB Tactical Pistol Brace, which is what it shipped with. And this SB Tactical Pistol Brace does have a folding mechanism, so you can fold it. And something to note, you can actually get to and fire the trigger with this pistol brace folded. Although it is a little uncomfortable, the knuckle of at least my trigger finger kind of rubs on it as I fire the weapon, but it is doable. Another big improvement to the Gen 2 was the way they changed the rear of the weapon to this M4 style buffer tube, which is really great. If you want to submit the paperwork to legally make this a short barreled rifle, that would allow you to add any M4 style adjustable stock to this weapon. I think that about covers the highlights. Right now, let's head back out to the range and finish up this video. I'm going to shoot the last couple of magazines from right in here close. And I've set up one target at about 5 yards and the other one's about 8 yards. And when I was shooting the long range target, I had dialed this to the 4 power. I'm going to go ahead and dial that back down to the lowest setting, or 1 power. That way it'll act more like a red dot with these close-up targets. A little bit. That's not good. Alright guys, that'll end the shooting for today. And I have to say, it was a lot of fun shooting this Galil ACE Gen 2 pistol. Like I said, when I brought it out, it was brand new. I'd never fired it. I did lube it up. The weapon ran flawlessly. The 3 types of ammo, of course, was the Barnaul, the Sellier Bellot, and some of the wolf ammo. No malfunction of any type all day long. You kind of expect that out of these. These are really, really well-made weapons. But getting kind of hot out here, and so I'm going to go out and paint that round 10-inch gong and get out of here. But like always, any day that I can come out here and shoot is a good day. And when I get to bring out one of these, man, that just makes it a much better day. I will see you guys next time.